right here. If you said you had the map, it's got to get out of the way.
Tell me anything about it.
Last chance to stop before off-ramp. What does that mean?
Take this exit. Turn right. Slow down.
Welcome to Off-Ramp.
Traveling tumbleweeds for millions of miles, except where the urban sprawls cut them all down. That and the large, all-in-one department stores that have bought up huge plots of...
Let's not forget the desert breeze that whispers the names of the fallen cowboy singers every night.
Bob,
Tony,
Lila,
Alfred,
Maestro, Montechia,
and his darling wife Ethel.
and we'd like to sing one for all of them, and all of you that listened to them all those years down there in the gullies and the side canyons, stranded down the highways and the byways, the low ways and the no ways,
Cars and the trucks,
the boats and the rafts, the canoes, the cabooses, the burros and the jackasses,
biplanes and the tricycles,
the broken down horses and the broken down marriages. This is going out for all of you. Whoever wanted to get on top of the world and just weren't sure which direction it was. And this is also going out for my Aunt Lucille, which said I'd never amount to much, and by golly, Lucille, I want to tell you something. That was an inspiration to me. That was an inspiration to me to take that last $5 out of your purse and buy a rail ticket. And one of these days I'm going to give you that $5 back, and I just want you to know today's not the day, because I've had a kind of a rough afternoon, but all the rest of you all that just are hoping one day your ship will come in, or at least you'll find some money in somebody's purse too. I'd like to send this out to you. It's a little song that I think most of you know.
sing along at home. If you're watching us on the TV program, you'll see the words scrolling across the bottom of your screen.
I wish we could. Somebody turn that TV around so I can read him. Oh yeah. Okay. We gotta wait for the beginning again now, so we'll just
Now remember, just sing when the ball hits the word.
I can't see that part, but I'm gonna try it again. Alright, here we go. Is it over? Oh. There it goes. I'm a tumbleweed all day long. I'm a tumbleweed. I don't look very strong. Don't try to light me on fire. I might burn your hide. I'm a tumbleweed. Yes, I'm a tumbleweed. Oh. Woo-hoo, tumbleweed.
Woo-hoo. I was wondering.
It's a temporary solution. It's a temporary resolution to a permanent problem.
It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. No, it's troubleable. I found the State of the Union address rather troubleable. I was confusionated.
Well, you just need to...
Couldn't quite understand or read it.
You look like you're advocate of Confucianism.
This is exactly what they want you to believe in, Aid.
Oh, you need to come on down here. Come on, I'm going to tell you now.
I'll get this off.
A little proposition for you in the city right now.
Sit down. Everybody sit down.
All right.
A little proposition for you. Hey. You always should take it. All right, get your checkbook, right?
I got my checkbook.
Your checkbook?
I got my
There's your ID, your checkbook. All right,
Got
a
everything
little
you
bit.
need.
Everybody a little bit of money.
That's all
Put
right.
a little money up on the
Some
table.
on the
A
table.
little money on the table.
Just
A little bit of money up on the
Change.
table.
I got some dough.
Now we get a little more money tonight.
All right.
Gotta see your shares. I gotta see your shares. I want a little bit of money.
All right, a little more.
Put a little more.
All right, I'm taking
Just a
more.
little more. All right, now shut that over to me. Keep the money closer to me.
I don't know. I feel like
Keep the money closer to me. I'm
Go
talking
on.
about.
Go
All right, everybody.
Money going to you.
And I turn around.
I got the money
Turn
going to
around.
you. Turn around. Everybody
I
turn
don't
around.
know now.
Take a look at the wall. Take a look at the
Look
wall.
at the wall. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. Look at the wall.
Everybody turn around. Now put a little more. Keep it.
Little more money.
Leave your
Little more
checkbook.
money.
Leave your checkbook.
Little more money in the
Leave your checkbook
Little
on
more
the
money.
table.
I got.
Right.
Okay.
Open the door.
Everybody good?
Leave.
Very good. There is.
I gotta agree with you on that one. There is.
There's something about.
Yes, completely. And every time I begin to describe it,
There's no
way you can possibly
tell people anything that they don't already
know, and they'll happy to tell you that.
Oh, they'll let you know that they already know.
More than you could possibly tell them.
About anything, but especially about something like
Marmalade.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has a recipe. Aunt Lucy has one.
Everybody's
Grandma
got a
Mary.
personal history with marmalade.
Somebody, there's a trip to England in the background with some delightful little bread point story.
There's
and
someone living in Appalachia
Post points,
who's... Yeah.
someone boiled the sugar from cane they grew themselves in a pot on the balcony. Someone hand blew little round pot-bellied glass jars, shaped them in the bathtub.
Just like oranges and lemons and grapefruits and tangerines. And
Then you'll hear they hammered out
Quinces.
a tin lid out of, collected cans out of the recycling center.
that's what keeps it sealed. That's what they're going to hit.
Complete with the little threads on the screw top inside of it. And I want to tell you, I used to be impressed with that.
Well, yeah,
I used to.
sure.
Now I'm partial to mincemeat pie stories.
Ooh.
The entire range of spices and imagination combined in one pie crust.
Yeah. It's not just the melange of flavors and textures. It's the quixotic nature of those who make mincemeat.
It's not just mince.
You ever have tropical mincemeat?
Well, it was in the tropics. It must have been tropical mincemeat. What it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. They not only put dates
Coconuts
and various seafood.
and all sorts of crustaceans,
Yes.
as I recall.
Crabs.
A lot of mine was filled with bivalves, a lot of calcium.
You could make a poultice from something like that.
Someone did, and they were wearing it on their head.
Yeah, mincemeat.
There's nothing better than a mincemeat poultice under that tropical sun. Either.
Sure.
If you think that it doesn't accelerate the medicinal value
It does.
in that heat, you're kidding yourself.
That's right.
When will modern medicine rediscover the tropical mincemeat poultice?
I was reading the other day in a magazine that I picked up. Yeah,
Love to see it.
The photos were incredible.
Yep.
In those major types of magazines that explore the world, I don't know if you do, but I always have a little suspicion that things were posed.
Well,
Let's give this.
often they are. I mean,
Let's
the almighty dollar.
let's make sure that the ditch digger has a shovel for color, or let's give a handkerchief to the woman picking grapes. But these photos about
Bad
tropical mincemeat poultice were stunning.
If between poultices and plasters, I think most of the world's ills could be solved.
I agree, but I think it's poultice.
Maybe it's poultices.
Poultice.
I'm thinking you could draw the hate right out of someone's brain with a properly applied plaster.
Yeah.
Think about that. Could we eradicate disagreements, these decade, these generational, disagreements? Imagine if we could apply, as
probably the only
you
way.
noticed in the tropics, the mincemeat poultice, if we could get an entire people to wear...
Well, that article was talking about the healing emotive mincemeat poultice. That it was...
I'd like to just suggest that everybody listening tonight just mix up a big enough batch that everybody there...
It might be the thing to do at the next family reunion.
You know, I could see a reunion with everyone with a hate-removing poultice on them. I'm think about the salvation poultice. Just think about that for a minute.
Shut up. Wait a minute. All I could remember was how bad my hand used to hurt every time Grandma would teach me how to play the clarinet. She would tape a piece of tape onto me, and she'd make me sit straight up, and she'd say, "Now play that clarinet." She had a deep voice. Were you too young to remember, Grandma?
I do, but I didn't remember all the tape.
Well, it wasn't tape. It wasn't store-bought tape. They hadn't yet invented that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
She would take strips of burlap. Land, it would hurt. She'd take strips of burlap out of her petticoat, and she'd dip it in mucilage. And she'd lay them over the back line, and they'd harden up. And all you had to do was moisten them a little bit, and she'd moisten them in some iced tea or whatever's there. And she would strap my back to the chair. I would sit up. You know how my posture's good today?
Your fingers are so nimble because of it.
Even now, at the age of 304.
I can still see little marks. They're raised where you must have pressed on the holes pretty hard.
Well, that's right. When I first started, there weren't any holes. It was
you wore through those, didn't you?
It was black on the outside and blacker on the inside.
From all the carbon.
All the carbon from smoking. My grandmother was a firm believer in smoking.
I respect that today because look how old she lived to be.
She lived to be about 537 years,
and
mind
you should have seen her waist size.
These ain't the modern years, but these are years nonetheless. You should have seen her waist size.
What did they expand the modern years to catch up to the ancient calendars?
Oh, I think that was about the time of the
Roman enumeration.
It was a reckoning.
Was that when we were still in the Arabic quotient of numerations?
Well, I used to like them Arabic numbers. I still use them today. I never caught in no writing with letters.
Roman numerals were too highly cumbersome, and not only that...
Well, you couldn't tell the difference between spelling a word and spelling a number, and it just didn't make any sense. XVI111 XVL. What is that?
And carrying around all those clay tablets with the cuneiform rates of exchange was extremely difficult.
Well, you can call it what you want to. We just call it ciphering.
I called it the abacus of commerce.
I remember when the abacus was introduced. They all said, "All right, children, listen up. This is Mr. Abacus." And they'd rock it back and forth, and it would rattle just like some child's toy.
Sure
and we'd
enough.
say, "Oh, that's nice, but what the heck is it for?" We wouldn't actually say anything at all out loud.
But sure enough, you learned to count, didn't you?
You could count, you could write, and you could bake using the abacus. If you were good, you could start a fire with it.
Mercy.
Some of them were wood.
I'm here to tell you, some of them were clarinets.
That's right, and the wooden clarinets was what I learned on. You would take a stick, and then Grandma would make you practice until that stick was holler.
I don't understand why she made me play with my fingers and my toes.
Well, you must have been playing the contrabass clarinet.
It was a long one.
And maybe you was playing duets.
It was a deep and long experience.
I was talking about clarineting.
And there we were.
And the invention of glue. You know, we used a lot of things before we came up with the modern glue.
Or the modern clarinet.
We would... That's right.
I personally like the paste of meatloaf.
You could boil down the skin of any animal that you could catch that would give you its skin in the proper way, and you could just simply boil it down until you got something that was goopy. And anything that's goopy, you listen to me, boy? You're talking an awful lot. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Anything, listen, I'm going to tell you something.
Goopy.
Anything that's goopy when it's wet is going to be stuck tight when it's dry.
And the remainder can be made into meatloaf.
That goes down from mud flat. Yes, that's right, meatloaf. Did you ever like the kind with the pimentos in it, or were you more of a walnut meatloaf?
I'm going to confess to you, I picked those pimentos out and threw them up against the wall.
Well, boy, that's where the vitamins are. I remember when they invented vitamins. I'm going to tell you something new right now. anything that has bright flecks of color in it has got vitamins in it. Listen, 3 things you need to remember. What are you looking at? There's nothing outside you need to be looking at. I'm going to make sure you know 3 things.
I thought I heard something.
What is it?
I thought I heard the strain of a song I learned as a child in a big clarinet ensemble.
What song was that you learned you remember so good now, son?
I never knew the name of it, Gramps. It just would call to me.
I got a clarinet right here. Sing that song for me.
Well, I used to know a little glue boy too. He looked a little like me, a little like you. If a little glue child comes to your door, please don't tell him you don't have any more. Take that little glue child in to your table and feed him, won't you please? Everybody now.
Take him to your table.
Glue boy.
Child, little glue boy.
Little glue children all over the world.
All over the world.
Glue children.
Glue children.
Need a place to be.
Glue children.
You see, that little glue boy was me.
That was one of the nicest times I ever had. Since your great granny, she was my granny, she used to sing a song very similar to that in the old language.
I wish you could. Do you remember all of it?
Most
of it?
I have to tell you that, this is to my embarrassment, I have to tell you that I don't really recall a lot of the old language. The old tongue. I can hardly remember when I got that language taught to me. But what I do remember, there was a lot of grunting, and there was a lot of snorting, and it never did make a whole lot of sense. It wasn't like real talking to me. But Grandma, she could teach you how to play the clarinet, and she could teach you how to wash out your britches. She could teach you how to catch a fish. Anything you needed to know, she could teach you in that old language. It sounded like it's... She had a rather frail voice.
Low, though.
It was lower than my voice. She's a big woman.
Especially near the end of her life.
She's big at both ends of her life. She was born big, and she came into this world big, and she meandered through it. She was like a Goliath.
Sideways.
She could go sideways, and she could walk straight down the aisle. Oh, it makes me a little bit sad to think about Granny.
You're getting me a little choked up myself.
We used to call her old Granny.
Big old Granny.
You see them shoes I'm wearing?
Who is that?
I don't know who that is. That's just some shoes. You don't have to make them all personal.
Well.
So I think you need to keep 4 things in mind. You need to remember that any food with little bright colors in it has vitamins.
Yes.
You need to remember... What is else you need to remember I told you?
Sit up straight when you're playing the clarinet.
If you don't want some canvas glue strapped into your chair... See, I don't think that that's a problem nowadays. I think Velcro has taken the place of most sort of canvas mucilage glue. You can buy glue at the store. I remember the first store I ever saw.
They have soap there now, too, Gramps.
You know, lye soap isn't all it's cracked up to be. It smells good while it's cooking, of course. But it stings a little more than that pumice soap. I remember the first volcano I saw.
I saw the movie of you diving into the molten lava beds.
You saw that movie? I remember the first movie I ever saw.
Most people thought you were diving for the quarters that the tourists threw in.
It was a Western.
Right.
I do. The room got dark. We didn't know what to expect. And then...
There was Mr. Edison.
And then Mr...
Talking on his telephone with Alexander...
Graham Bell. He said, "Come quickly, Watson. You and Crick..." I remember the first time I heard about them discovering DNA. Watson and Crick.
Mr. Franconi.
Mr. Franconi invented the Franconophone.
While flying a ring up on a kite.
Where do you get this information? Benjamin Franklin did not die from a common cold. I remember the first
You
time I
knew
met
him.
Ben Franklin.
I thought
he
I
was a
remembered
hoot. He was a right. He was quite a ladies' man too. Yes, he was. Benji.
Well,
I don't remember.
he was a heck of a ladies' man. I want to tell you what.
He thought he was.
There wasn't any glue on his soles.
I remember the first time I went to France.
Was he there then?
No, this is long before he was around.
Oh, of course.
But they were waiting for him.
Laying a trap, were they?
Sure, they're laying a trap. The trap of love. Benjamin Franklin died from falling into the trap of love. Wait a minute.
He was
Let me
the,
think.
the beat of...
I don't remember.
You're getting a little tired now, Gramps.
I'm getting a little tired. Listen, all I wanted you to do is to remember these 3 things.
A.
I'll
remember all 4 of them.
You're a good boy.
Thank you.
Now get up off my lap and go outside and play.
My clarinet.
Whatever.
I am my own lady love. Oh yeah, I'm my own lady love in the pasture. I am my own lady love. I can warble. Let me take another run at that note. I can warble on my own.
This show was improvised by Gary Bass, Matthew Cowley, and Dave Waterman, and edited by Sheila Daughtry.
In the dark, in the backyard, I'm a squeaky toy of love. Come on, sing it with me, boys. I'm a squeaky toy of love. I'm a squeaky toy of love. I'm a squeaky toy of love. All the puppies of love. I'm a squeaky toy. That's right. In the backyard,
a squeaky toy of love.
Squeaky toy. The song is vaguely autobiographical. The end.